Isaiah 54 is another great verse. It's talking about a woman who's not married and barren, and she's in shame because she can't have children. She's obviously not married, so no one's chose her. She can't have children. Her life is about, I want to marry, I want to have kids. I'm around a world of women who have children. I feel ashamed because, it's not happening for me. And here's what the Lord prophesied over here. Shout for joy, barren one, you who have borne no children. Break forth into joyful shouting break forth into joyful shouting and cry aloud, you who have not travailed. For the sons of the desolate woman will be more numerous than the sons of the married woman, says the Lord. Enlarge your place of tent. Stretch out your curtains of your dwelling. Spare not. Lengthen your cords. Strengthen your pegs. For you will spread abroad to the right and left. And your descendants will possess nations and will resettle desolate cities. Listen to this. Fear not, for you will not be put to shame. Fear not, for you will not be put to shame. And do not feel humiliated, for you will not be disgraced. For you will forget the shame of your youth and the reproach of your widowhood. You will remember no more. I love this. God's going, okay, she's like, I can't have children. I got no husband. All these people are married. My whole dream is to have a family. And God goes, start shouting. Shout before you have the children. And then make room for kids. Like lengthen your cords. It's all about, for her, it's kids about kids. For us, it might be some other thing you're giving birth to, right? But the idea is like, if you start shouting ahead of time, I'm going to give you children, and you're going to have more children than the people you're hanging out with. And your children, they're going to be amazing. They're going to settle desolate nations. And then you'll forget the shame of your youth and the shame of your widowhood, because I am going to prosper you. Like, what do I do if I feel ashamed? Start shouting. There you go. That's good right there. Illustrated sermon. Thank you. It's not, okay, I'm yelling. Sorry. Okay. I was excited, then I realized I yelled through my whole message. Especially when people put the earplugs in, I'm yelling. I'm not talking just about shouting. I'm talking about anticipating. I am not staying here. Whatever my condition is. With this woman, it was about having a family and having children. And she's like, I'm never going to get married. And nothing's ever happened good to me. And God goes, start shouting and make room for your kids, because you're going to have so many kids. You're going to have more kids than the married women that you know right now. But for you, it might be something different, right? For this woman, her dream is children. For you, it might be something different. The point isn't to yell or shout. The point is, I trust God. He's going to break this thing over my life. And I begin to connect with God. Sometimes shame doesn't just separate me from you. It separates me from God. I remember, again, bringing up the people falling down and shaking for years. I remember how the early days affected my relationship with God. I would spend my time praying, thinking about what's wrong with me. Maybe I have a demon. Maybe I have a secret sin. And people, in their zeal to help you, it's just like, hey, you lost weight. Their zeal to help you, it's not always helpful. They'll be like, maybe you're just not giving yourself totally to God. I'm like, well, yesterday I prayed for a girl who doesn't know God, and she fell on the floor shaking for 3 hours. True story. And I carried her to her parents' house and had to explain to her parents, who were both atheists, that the girl's under the power of God. And the girl was a drug addict and a drunk, and in the room, when the power of God came, she ended up on the floor and didn't even know what happened to her until she finally went out. So I'm like, if God could touch her, certainly I'm doing a little bit better than that if we're going to have a little bit comparative shame going on here. I'm like, I at least prayed the prayer. And I'm reading the Bible on a semi-regular basis. These are the calisthenics you go through when you feel shame. It's like, I'm trying to justify, well, he touched her. How come she's not hard to touch? What's wrong with me? Like, well, some people just, they're, whatever. You know what broke it for me? I'll tell you the honest truth. One day I was praying and I was doing that thing I just told you about, what's wrong with me? Let me look at my navel.